Now we're going to review the part of the peripheral nervous system that includes your cranial nerve. So remember, cranial nerves control sensation and movement of head and neck by communicating this information to and from the brain. So what we're going to look at are the 12 cranial nerves, and for each nerve we're going to identify the function and the type of cranial nerve it is. If it's sensory, meaning that it receives sensory information only. If it's motor, meaning that it gives out motor command. Or if it's mixed, meaning that it does both sensory and motor function. So here's an overview of the cranial nerves, which you either have already seen in lab or will see in lab. And it's showing you here the 12 different cranial nerves. And notice here that they're all cut or they're short. In the following pictures, you'll see the full extent of the cranial nerve. First cranial nerve is olfactory. So olfactory nerve is right on top of the nasal cavity. So you'll see the olfactory nerve right here. And the olfactory nerve is important for smell. So since it's important for sensing smell, it is a sensory nerve. Next is the optic nerve. The optic nerve is important for vision, for seeing. So in the models, the optic nerve is just this little part right here, but if you were to actually see the full extent of the optic nerve, you'll notice that it actually comes from the eye. So from the back of the eye, the optic nerve comes straight down. Same thing, back of the eye, optic nerve is straight here. That entire part is the optic nerve. The optic nerve is for seeing, so it's for vision. And because it's only in charge of sensing visual input, it's not in charge of moving the eye. The type of nerve is purely sensory. Now the next group of nerves we're going to look at together, 3 oculomotor, 4 trochlear, and 6 abducens. The reason why we group them all together is because they all function for eye movement. They all move the eye. So if you take a look here, you'll see that oculomotor comes out here and it extends to muscles of the eye. Trochlear, number 4, starts here and extends again to muscles of the eye. And abducens, 6, right here, again extends out to the muscles of the eye. So all of them innervate eye muscles that help move the eye. They help move the eye in different directions, left, right, up, down, and diagonally. Since these cranial nerves are involved in moving the eye, it is a motor cranial nerve. Now let's go back to number 5. 5 is trigeminal and one of your largest cranial nerves. The reason why it's called trigeminal, and you see the tri in it, is because even though in the model you only see this one little part here, if you were to follow the trigeminal nerve, it actually comes out and splits into 3 major branches. That's why they call it tri. So if you notice, the trigeminal nerve actually extends over the entire face. So the function includes chewing. So if you look at this lower branch, it actually goes down to the jaw. So it's going to innervate muscles that help you with chewing. And then it also allows you to sense your entire face. So notice again, the branches go all over the face. So any sensation of the face can come in through trigeminal nerve. Things like even tooth pain. So if you get your tooth pulled or have a toothache, that's going to come in through trigeminal nerve. So because trigeminal nerve is both involved in moving your jaw for chewing and sensing the face, this is our first mixed nerve that we see. Facial nerve, number 7. Facial nerve, if you notice, also goes over to a large range of the face. So in your model in lab, you'll notice that it's just this tiny little part here, but the full extent goes all over your entire face. And what the facial nerve does is it actually goes and innervates all the muscles for facial expression. For instance, it innervates zygomaticus major to help you smile. It innervates the buccinator to compress your cheeks. It innervates orbicularis oculi, orbicularis oris. So again, all of those muscles in the face that we talked about previously, facial nerve can activate those muscles and help you move your face. In addition, it helps with taste. So it actually helps with the anterior 2/3 part of your tongue. So the first 2/3 part of your tongue, it actually receives the sensation of taste from that. So facial nerve, because it moves facial muscles and senses taste, is a mixed nerve. Cranial nerve number 8, vestibulocochlear. Now this one's a mouthful to say, but think of it as two separate parts. Vestibulo, which is the first part, that actually refers to balance. And cochlear, the second part, actually refers to hearing. So vestibulocochlear nerve is for balance and hearing. And if you look at the vestibulocochlear nerve, so in your model it's just this little piece right here, but the full extent is it actually comes in from this here, which is your ear, your inner ear. So information comes in from organs about balance and from the cochlea, the organ for hearing. So vestibulocochlear nerve comes in from your ear. Now you might notice that balance and your ear are related because if you've ever gotten your ear clogged from like swimming or had ear pain, you might notice you're a little off balance. So that's why the ear is important for balance. And again, it uses this vestibulocochlear nerve. So the vestibulocochlear nerve senses your balance and it senses your hearing. So it's strictly a sensory nerve. Cranial nerve number 9, glossopharyngeal. So this one is easy to break down too. Glosso, which refers to the tongue, and pharyngeal, which refers to the pharynx, which is your throat. So the glossopharyngeal nerve deals with taste, so it's the other 1/3 of your tongue, the back part. And it also helps you sense and move your pharynx, which is your throat. So for example, it helps you swallow. So glossopharyngeal nerve, since it senses taste and helps you move your throat, is a mixed nerve. 10. Vagus. The vagus nerve is the one nerve that actually doesn't stay in the head and neck region. The vagus nerve actually wanders all the way down to your thoracic and abdominal pelvic cavity. Vagus, in fact, means to wander. To wander. And here you see, even though on the model you just see the little part of the vagus nerve right here, but if you follow it through, look, it goes to the throat, it goes down to the heart, it goes out to the lungs, it even goes down to the abdomen, to the stomach, and to the intestines. So the vagus nerve actually helps you with your heart rate, your breathing, and your digestion. So for example, if you get really scared, right, your brain knows you're frightened, and then it starts to regulate. Your heart rate and breathing start to increase, and your digestion slows down. That's because the brain can signal these organs through the vagus nerve. Vagus nerve is a mixed nerve because not only can it help move these organs, it can also get sensation from these organs too. Number 11. 11 is your accessory nerve. 11 is in charge of moving the head and neck. So if you follow number 11, you'll notice 11 goes over to parts of the neck down here. And so that's going to help you move that neck and that head. It's purely a motor nerve. And then finally 12, hypoglossal. Remember, glossal refers to tongue. Hypo is below. So if you look at the cranial nerve number 12 and follow it through, notice it actually comes all the way down to the muscles below the tongue. So what the hypoglossal nerve does, it helps you move your tongue. And it is strictly a motor nerve. So just to summarize, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves. They carry both sensory and motor information for the head and neck. And they communicate information to and from the brain.